Well, this, friends, is their line in the sand. While we've seen so much chaos and just crime after crime after crime from our governments in the last several years, the last several decades, the folks on the other side of the aisle are seeing right now, this moment, the exposure of all the corruption and the deep state. They see that as an existential threat, and they've said, now is the time to stop this dead in its tracks. Let's talk about this, folks. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are the things the mainstream media will not cover because they haven't been paid by USAID to cover. And that's part of what we're talking about here. We're seeing the mainstream media having an absolute meltdown. We're seeing politicians going absolutely insane. We're seeing them badgering and accusing people of doing the very things that these politicians have been doing. We see the media out there accusing of a coup. I mean, where were they for the last 4 years? Where were they the last 4 years when things were stolen and the wrong person got in there? Because of all the criminal activity that happened, that is well documented. Where were they when that happened? Where were they when the old guy got pushed out and someone else was running the place? Some of us thought it was the cackling lady, but turns out it wasn't her because it's not possible that she could kind of run that thing. As ineptly as it was run, there were people in the shadows running the government, right? They were running the government for the guy who was supposed to be in office. And we all could see, everyone could see that he was not capable of fulfilling the role. And yet now they want to talk about there's a coup happening. When a president who has been elected to do something with certain people that he has told us, that is, that's really rich, isn't it? And this is the hill they want to die on. They don't want accountability. They don't want any of the darkness and the shadows exposed. This is the hill that they want to die on. They want to have marches out there, not because some person of a minority was abused or horrifically treated by police this time. No, they want to burn cities over the fact that there's accountability happening. That the one guy in the world who really would have basically zero interest in stealing money from the government is doing a read-only audit of the payments going out of the U.S. federal government. Like, one guy doing this, and we know his name, and he has to declare his finances and everything like that. So it's like he couldn't steal from the government if he wanted to, and he's revealing where the payments are going anyway. So like he'd be revealing the payments going to himself. Like, where are we seeing a problem here? We're seeing lie after documented lie happening, misinformation, weaponized misinformation happening. Let me give you some ideas of what's happening here. So, Doge has read-only access to the government payment systems to just see what is actually happening. Not allowed to do anything to it. There was talk out there that they were actively editing the live code. Now, that sounded like, upon further assessment, it sounded like one instance. And we were told by the Treasury Secretary, because this is an administration where reporters are actually allowed to talk to the secretaries and actually allowed to talk to the press secretary and actually talking to the president and such. Well, the press secretary was asked. The Treasury Secretary was asked. And he said, one, that edit to the live code was done by a Treasury employee, a long-standing Treasury employee, while in the presence of other Treasury employees doing that. So Doge didn't do that. Now, Doge may have suggested that there was a problem that needed to be fixed, but it was Treasury employees that did the actual edit and were the ones who actually approved doing it. But more than that, he then said that Doge absolutely only has a read-only access to the payment system. All they can do is see what the payments are and what the payments have been. They don't have any authority whatsoever to tamper with anything. So, information. What sort of sensitive information, what sort of damaging, awful information could they possibly access that the left has marches starting in like 20 different cities? People are out there, I'd like to see who paid them. That's one thing I'd like to have revealed. Who paid them to protest, but suddenly these people are protesting. We had USAID shut down over the weekend, and then mysteriously on Monday there was a protest that happened in Washington, D.C. Like, how was that organized? Like, where did that come from? I mean, apart from the USAID, staffers and employees, nobody knew USAID existed. The only reason I knew that was because I ran into them and I actually applied to USAID way back in the day to work for USAID in Afghanistan during the reconstruction. I actually applied for that. I, of course, then found out that the only USAID employees in Afghanistan, not a single one of them was an American. That's a fact. That's a fact. And that was back in 2011 or 12 or something like that. Not a single USAID employee in Afghanistan was American. They were like British and this and that. And that was one of my first inklings to go, I don't think they're actually trying to help anyone. I think USAID actually exists as a front for the CIA. Because that's the first thing you do, right, is that you change your nationality. Like, Americans always pretend to be someone else when they're doing intelligence stuff, right? So it makes sense that they're British or whatever like that, or at least claiming to be. Hopefully I don't get offed for saying this stuff, because this is stuff that's not really public knowledge. This is stuff that I've kind of pieced together from my interactions with the agency. Not official interactions, but seeing them in operation over in that part of the world. And let's just say they're not the sharpest tools in the shed, but they're absolutely convinced that they are. They think that nobody can see what they're doing. They think that nobody has any idea what's going on. When in fact, the truth is that they're the ones usually have no idea what is going on. I had some interactions with folks that I am pretty sure they had no business being there, and they were asking all sorts of questions. They were talking to all sorts of people, and they were getting interactions with extremely influential people in there. That why would those people talk to those people unless they knew that this person was actually someone representing the U.S. government of some sort. Anyway, so the left, the wokeists, are marching in the streets, claiming that this is a coup, that a president who was elected to do something with certain people is daring to do that thing and those things with the very people that he said he was going to do them with. When a billionaire who could do anything they want to in the world is spending sleepless nights and all their weekends going through line by line code of the federal government and basically doing an audit. I've done audits. I've worked on audits. I promise you, when it's 5 o'clock on an audit, you leave as fast as you can. Nobody wants to be there. Nobody. I don't care how much you're being paid for that audit. You don't want to be there. It is the most boring, mind-numbing, awful thing to do in the world. And yet, we see some 20-something-year-olds, hotshots, with Elon Musk and a bunch of other people around them, performing this first ever audit of the federal government. And they're giving up their weekends, they're giving up their evenings. A billionaire. He could be at home with any one of his 6 girlfriends that he's had children with, in the 6 or 7 houses that they have. That's documented out there. For those of you who are like, he is the white shining knight. Well, morally, he's not the greatest person in the world from a Christian perspective. Is he fighting for America? I mean, it's hard to see it any other way. He's a billionaire whose cause in life is to fix the federal government, to reduce government waste and spending. I'm sorry, but that's something I can be behind. It's something I really can be behind. Everyone on our side doesn't need to be squeaky clean. Everyone on our side doesn't need to do everything just right. In fact, what we need to do is we need to find allies who are motivated by the same outrages, the same purposes. And once we get further in, once we get further down the road, then we can start talking about, okay, we're going to go this way or that way now. And we can have a conversation then. But there are things that we all agree on that need to be fixed right now. And the people that are doing that are fixing it. They need to have our support. Even if they're doing things in a way that seems a little bit aggressive. But I don't know about you, but I am all about them doing aggressive things. I'm all about them storming into the Department of Justice and installing hard drives to start recording everything that's happening on that network. I'm all about them going into the Treasury Department and starting to look at, line by line, all of the payments that have gone out. To hold people accountable. To start tracing the money to NGOs, to nonprofits. And then to start examining those nonprofits and NGOs and saying who's on the board, who controls that money. And using all of the tools of subjugation that have been used against us, to use those tools to hold the people in power accountable. These so-called elites. And they are horrified. We've already been told that when the FBI director gets confirmed, they're going to release the lists to the island out there in the sea, all the people that went to that island, and all the people that partook in those crimes. This has been something that has been quite shocking. That somehow we've seen people convicted of trafficking people to nobody. Trafficking is a crime because you're facilitating a crime. How can you facilitate a crime if there is no actual crime that has taken place? Any investigator would know that you have to look at the original crime too, right? You can't just look at the person who facilitated the crime. And yet that's exactly what we've seen. We've seen plea deals made so that people don't have to say a word about things. The corruption in the United States is so deep, so deeply rooted, that it will take a miracle to turn back the tide. And I'll say that I'm still not super optimistic. I am cautiously optimistic. I am hopefully optimistic. I hope that things are dealt with. I hope that we finally get some accountability. I hope we finally start cleaning up some things. Even if we clean up just a little bit of it. Even if just a little bit of it gets exposed. Even if just a few of the people go to jail that need to go to jail. I think that that is super important that it happens, and it happens soon. We've been hoping for this for, I don't know, for many of us, for many, many years. We've been hoping that there would be a reckoning, an accounting, that people would finally have enough of what has been happening, that to finally hold everyone accountable. And in that case, it seems like that may be today. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Adios. Bye.